It's hard to let go of that autonomy sometimes.
Yeah.
Because it's more of just a mental challenge of I am independent, and it's kind of fearful for them to lose that. This is a big transition to move into a community, and we want to remove the stigma of it being something that's bad. Losing that independence, you'll still have your independence, but we'll be able to make your days easier so you can do more of what you want to do.
Welcome to the Answers for Elders radio show.
And welcome back, everyone, to Answers for Elders Radio Network. And we are here again at Chateau Retirement. Specifically, we are at Chateau Valley Center in Renton, Washington. And I have the privilege to meet today with Cindy Serrano, who is the Community Relations Director. And we're talking about community. It's how you connect with the community at large. And if someone tours, they tour with you. They learn a lot about, you're just kind of that ambassador to Chateau. And so, Cindy, welcome to the show. And you were with us before with a group, but I'm really excited to work now directly with you and talk to you a little bit about the message. And first of all, what is your official role? I kind of did a broad brush, but tell me a little bit about your role.
Yeah, so my role here at Chateau Valley Center is the Director of Community Relations. And what that is bring awareness to the community of what Chateau is and how we can be a bigger part of it. So we work with those families or those on their own looking for senior living and helping them guide the way to finding their home.
And you probably spend a lot of time visiting with a family, finding out what's most important to that resident, what their hobbies are, kind of seeing, they're going to have a lot of questions for you that you're going to answer. How does that dialogue usually happen when you first meet with a family?
When I first meet with a family, I first want to get to know what's important to them, not what they're looking for in the living situation or a senior living community, but what is important to them right now in their life, what they would like in their future. And it starts off more so asking questions like you're on a first date. What do you like to do? What do you, how do you spend your weekends? What do you enjoy cooking late at night? So it really is a matter of getting to know the person on a more personal level.
Yeah. So obviously that involves a budget when you meet with a family. How does that, what kind of questions do you get and how do you work with that?
Yeah, getting a clear understanding and having that transparency of what they would like to spend and what the costs are it's a big part of sales and a big part of my role. So letting them know the value and what's included in the monthly fees is something that I want to make sure that it's communicated at the beginning so they know what's covered and cost and there are no surprises down the line.
Yeah. And I think that that's the one thing that there's a lot of misunderstandings out there with potential residents will say, oh, senior living is really expensive. But when you start breaking down how much do you spend on groceries every month that you won't be spending in senior living, how much do you spend for, house cleaner? How much do you spend on maintenance for your home? How much do you spend in utilities that you're already getting? And you start adding all these things up, then you realize, it's not that much difference. Plus you have care that's down the hall. Yeah. And then obviously you then coordinate with an assessment, which would be the next thing. How does that work?
So if they are looking for assisted living, then we make sure that we're able to provide the care. Our nurses will go meet the prospects wherever they are to make sure that we have a clear understanding of what their care needs are before they move in.
Yeah. And, I just did this week's show on the radio, which is interesting, but we talked about when somebody moves in, it's always a good idea to get more services in the beginning to help a resident integrate. So in other words, get escort down to meals, get all these things the first month. You can always dial back those types of services.
Right.
And so obviously you will be making some recommendations to the families on, what is recommended based on that assessment. Is that correct?
It is. It helps with the transition. A move for anyone is really difficult, but if it's an aging adult who's having a number of health issues and new to a surrounding after say they live in their home for 50 years, it's going to be even more difficult. So having that additional support at the beginning will ease that transition process. And once they've settled in and things are a little bit easier on the day-to-day, we can dial back on, say, the escorts to activities or meals.
Yeah. I mean, don't even know, they're experiencing a dramatic change from a house, whether it's not served them before or, they're just downsizing. But one of the things is we don't, an adult child doesn't think about if they get up 3 times during the night, right? They probably hang on to the same corner and the same chair to get to the bathroom. And that's something that they've always done for, 20 years. And now all of a sudden, now things are changing and brand new things are happening. So obviously those are some things that you can kind of zero in on. You know how to ask those questions and help the family to help them integrate into the community.
Oh, absolutely. Just with those little pieces, it's one way as the community relations director, I have resources available in the broader community. Say if they're having just trouble moving into their home, say within the first week, maybe we can get an OT to assess the apartment and put in adaptive equipment.
Yeah.
That can make their days easier. So there's definitely ways that I continue to listen to little challenges that they may not even see as a challenge to make it easier for them.
Yeah. And I think the other thing is a lot of times we as adult children, we don't understand the highest values of a potential resident. And oftentimes if it's mom and dad, they're not going to tell son or daughter that I'm afraid of this or afraid of that. And so those are some things obviously that can affect the fear and eliminate the fear.
Right.
When a family moves in, there's the son or daughter may feel like, oh, mom and dad, I want them to be able to do X, Y, Z. And yet they might have, mom and dad might have totally different concerns or questions. And it's your job to kind of read between the lines, I'm sure, because obviously you want the whole family involved. But at the end of the day, who's going to be here is mom and dad. How do you listen for those cues? What are some things that you sometimes can discover in the?
Yeah, a lot of times there's a unique relationship between parents and the adult children. There's always a want for the parents to have the very best. Maybe that's not always the same thing that the parents want or whoever's moving in wants. So picking up on the little cues such as I can do things myself, but maybe the adult children will say, well, mom, maybe a little bit more help would be necessary. And so that little cue right there is a point where a lot of times I've noticed that they may need more help.
Sure.
It's hard to let go of that autonomy sometimes.
Yeah.
Because it's more of a mental challenge of I am independent, and it's kind of fearful for them to lose that. This is a big transition to move into a community, and we want to remove the stigma of it being something that's bad. Losing that independence, you'll still have your independence, but we'll be able to make your days easier so you can do more of what you want to do.
And I see you out in the community. You are the community relations director. I love to see when you post things on LinkedIn and things like that, how many things that Chateau connects with those that need care. I just saw you recently, it was a Parkinson's, you posted the thing for Parkinson's. Tell me a little bit about your role in the community for doing events like that.
Yeah, so my role in the community, there's a few networking groups that I'm part of, some of them being industry specific, where I'm able to share insights with others. Say in my role, we share insights, we'll share referrals and just best practices, just so we have an understanding of the world that's going on outside of the community that we see every day. It just keeps us in touch with the trends and happenings of how we can continue to help out. Not only networking groups, I'm meeting people one-on-one to get to know others, say in operations roles in other communities or home care companies or even hospice companies, to see how we can really partner up and become a strength and as a resource to our whole community.
Right. And obviously working together with the community, you'll get a lot of questions just that you may not get when they're in here. Just general things, oh, wow, I've heard of your community. A lot of times people have misperceptions of senior living. So you probably get questions that help Chateau be a little bit more, build awareness better in the community.
Absolutely. Well, especially with being right next to the hospital too.
Yeah.
Well, I'm easily able to have those conversations with, say, podiatry clinics or folks that are in the emergency department at the hospitals, and letting them know this is where we're at with our community. These are the updates that we have going on. These are the events that we have lined up for the rest of the year.
Wow,
so
great.
we really get to stay up to date and show that we're really thriving as a senior living community.
And, that's just to circle to coming back. You will invite people to come have lunch. You'll invite people to participate in events, things like that. Tell me about how that works.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So sometimes it just happens organically when I go to a networking meeting, and sometimes I have a goal that if I meet 2 new people, even just to say hi, I've done my job for the day. Because you never know later down the line where knowing that person or that role or the company may come into use. So it's just really fantastic to keep the options open, or just meeting new people and creating that bridge to have partnerships.
Absolutely. And,
it's really great.
Again, it's kind of the best role in the world to be able to make friends for a living. And that's pretty much what you do.
It is. And we're doing it by helping others. And so it feels really fulfilling to be able to create that camaraderie with business partners while knowing that we're doing a good thing.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Did you know that you can discover hundreds of podcasts in our library on senior care? So visit our website and discover our decision guides that will help you also navigate decision making. Find us at answersforelders.com.